somewhere else, but this is where we found ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to another edition of the Local Show here on GrassRoots Community Network. I'm Erik, Skarvan, your host. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. Can barely keep track last month, so thank you for tuning in throughout the years, where each week we feature inspirational locals. So excited and honored and really just pleased and happy to honor a first-time guest on the show. She's an artist and owner of a local gallery, the Skye Gallery, welcoming Skye Weinglass to the show.
Hi.
Skye, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And I love your kimono.
Kimono. I just got this in Mexico.
Really beautiful. So you got a Japanese kimono in Mexico.
Yes.
How does that work?
It's like a limited edition of 10. I don't know, but there's really cool, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That is really wonderful. So thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
I know you're super busy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start kind of with, you're one of those, I don't know if I'd say rare, but one of those fortunate and blessed locals, like born and raised in Aspen. And, of course, there's a lot of things we can talk about, the recreational side, the cultural side, the arts, And I guess I wanted to ask, with kind of the art scene and the galleries and all the talented artists around, what were some of those first influences kind of in the art world, growing up in Aspen?
That's a good question. I'd say growing up in Aspen, it was more so, I was an artist my whole life. So then I went to school for art, and I came back here. And I was an artist, practicing artist. And then also I was helping my dad run boogies.
Okay.
When I came back after college, especially when he got sick. I was helping him run boogies, so I kind of was not really tapped into the arts, other than I went to school for art for myself. And then I was helping him run his retail space when he was sick. And then that's how I made my first pop-up, was just combining my two loves of art and then retail. Because retail is more what I know, and then art is just, what I love and want to support. But I would say growing up in Aspen, that's a good question. I don't really know how I was inspired by art. I think it's a creative, liberal space, open-minded people, I'd say.
Do you any artists that you remember, kind of back in the day that stick out, someone that maybe inspired you, either locally or otherwise?
I was asked this question in college. I remember thinking, I don't think there was anyone that specifically inspired me. I've always just been an artist.
Okay.
But then I remembered my nanny growing up was a really amazing painter, and we'd always do, arts and crafts and painting. And so probably her from a young age.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's super cool. Well, then.
And my mom's really creative, too.
Right, your mom, Pepper.
Pepper,
right?
yeah.
Pepper Weinglass.
She just started painting. She makes great paintings as well.
And your dad, Lenny, otherwise known as Boogie Weinglass, which we'll talk about him later on in the show.
And he's a creative also.
Oh, we love
love
Boogie around town, and I actually have some personal experiences with him. He's so generous, and he supported our Canine Uphill event for many years, which was the Doggy Uphill on Buttermilk for 22 years. And he was one of our major sponsors, so we really appreciate that. So shout out to Boogie. Hey, Boogie.
Yeah, he is the best.
So you kind of took that retail experience that you got at Boogie's and your love of art and being an artist yourself. And how did you kind of come up with the concept, for your original, I guess, pop-ups in terms of, especially focusing on local artists? How did you develop that theme, I guess, or philosophy?
It developed really organically. So Boogie's, my dad sold Boogie's at close. The new owners bought it, and it was just sitting empty for a year. That's right. Me and a few friends were like, whoa, what if we had a pop-up space in there?
Okay.
So it was actually with my best friend Clarity, who runs Aspen Hatter, and then this other guy. We had a little local art show. We had locals apply to show their art, and I rented the space from Thor Equities, the new owners of the building.
Okay.
And which is the only thing that was wrong in the article. Anyways, so I rented the space from them for a month and showed my own artwork, and then Clarity showed her artwork. And then it was really fun. And then I had some friends that had a store called the Black Market, who they do pop-ups around. They were looking for a pop-up spot. And it's such a big space, so they got the bottom. We shared another space for the next winter. I think it was 2016 that winter.
Okay.
They had a retail store in the bottom, and then I had a gallery up top. And that's when I curated 18 different artists and brought in a lot of people, and then got the idea that I was ooh, this feels right just supporting artists. And I'm already in contact with a lot of artists because I'm an artist and I went to school for art. So it was just kind of natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we want to move into your kind of current situation at Skye Gallery. And where are you currently located?
I'm currently located at 535 East Cooper Avenue.
Okay.
So my first pop-up was in the old Boogies building. Then I had another pop-up by myself where I opened the gallery as the Bird's Nest Gallery.
Okay.
On Cooper Avenue also, and then I moved to MySpace. So I've been in MySpace now, 535 East Cooper, for 4 years.
Okay.
And I love it. It used to be Little Boogies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I
everyone
know
thinks that my
space.
dad owns the building. He doesn't. We've just always paid rent there. So anyways, when I closed Little Boogies because my dad was sick and I was running Little Boogies. So that's when I decided to just close Little Boogies and just open the gallery full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess before we go off to break, like, what is it about art, like at its core, that you really love? Because obviously you've designed your whole life around this. You know, a lot of your free time or professional time, and kind of what is it about that? I guess that creative element.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's just humans in the purest human form, like a human being their most vulnerable self and their most like freedom to be themselves. And I think just prioritizing being an artist is to be really courageous because you have to prioritize like putting yourself out there and giving yourself time to create. And so I feel like it's one of those like universal wavelength channels that you can just like get downloaded. Like when you're really tapped in, like at least for me, when I'm really tapped in, like there's different ways of like when you're painting or dancing or kissing or just fun things like that. Like I feel like you are fully tapped into like the universal wavelength, and that's something I think artists are tapped into when they prioritize themselves in that way. So yeah, I think it's just a form of vulnerability and courage. And I like to support artists whenever I can. And any form of self-expression, really. Like at the gallery, we show painting, sculpture, but also we have like dance performances, jewelry workshops, meditation, yoga, stuff like that.
Right. So not just a lot of different kinds of art and expression and creativity. And that kind of that manifestation of just kind of being a human. You know, I guess I flashed back. It was really interesting when you started to talk, because I imagine being a kid finger painting.
Yeah.
Because that was some of the first expression we did. Like,
I know.
You must have done finger painting when you were little.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
like,
kind of getting on a piece of paper and going like that, and then
Yeah.
just kind of, expanding from there.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Whether or not someone else likes it, I guess that's kind of bonus, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then that bonus can create either a career or not, because obviously if your
And
art
that's
is
the
not
tough
selling.
part.
Yeah, right.
That
That's
is
where
the
you're
tough
putting yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly. Putting yourself out there. And also, like, you should create just to create for yourself, but also making a career out of it is a whole different thing.
Right.
But the world needs it, I think. I think the world needs more creativity and people living more of an alternative lifestyle like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna create our one break of the show right now, Skye. Rehydrate. Okay. But I do want to thank my underwriters for making this show and our entire winter series happen, from Thanksgiving to Easter, basically. So I want to thank Gonzo Nation, Haiti Children, Klug Properties, Highlands Ale House, Obermeyer, otherwise known as Sport Obermeyer. Happy 75th anniversary, guys. Picken County Landfill, and last but not least, Sundog Athletics. Like I said, it's our only break of the show, guys. It's only 2 minutes. We'll be right back with Skye Weinglass. We're going to talk about, the kind of downtown commercial rent situation and possible solutions, so don't go away.
The Gonzo Foundation is a nonprofit organization created to promote literature, journalism, and political activism through the legacy of Hunter S. Thompson, and is a proud supporter of the local show and GrassRoots TV. For more information, visit thegonzofoundation.org.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
I'm Klaus Obermeier, and I wish you a terrific winter on the Aspen Mountains.
Locally owned and located at the base of Aspen Highlands, Highlands Ale House features delicious scratch-made comfort food, cocktails, beer, and more. Their sunny outdoor deck is ski in, ski out. 2 miles from Aspen, they're open daily, winter and summer. Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school, is your opportunity to experience private, all-inclusive snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and fat biking instructional adventures that will improve your safety, performance, and enjoyment.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome back to the local show, guys. Thanks for sticking with us here. We've got Skye Weinglass in the house. First time on the local show. It's about time, doggone it. Artist, gallery owner, curator. Curator is about finding other artists to display, right?
Yeah,
So you curate or pick them out, choose them, see if it's match.
exactly.
With kind of your philosophy, you know, featuring a lot of local artists in particular. I guess a question from that would be how, like, I guess there's so many local artists. Like, what other criteria do you kind of look for the artists that you're going to be displaying at Skye Gallery?
Yeah, that is a good question. I started out the gallery just curating emerging female artists.
Okay.
And that's still a majority of who I curate because, you know, female artists are underrepresented in the world of art. But I just curate what I love and a genuine artist, like a really hardworking artist. Like the artist I'm showing right now, Spencer Hansen. He's amazing. He is a man, but he's really amazing, and he works on his craft. He's all year long, works really hard. Everything's one of a kind. He has a lot of integrity with his art. He just genuine artists that are working really hard and that make something really unique and beautiful and the best of what they're doing. Because there's a lot of people doing something similar, but I try to curate the best of the avenue of what they're doing. You know, he makes sculpture, the best of his creative unique sculpture. He makes all these creatures hand carved out of wood with repurposed fur, and they look like imaginative beings. Yeah, so I guess
really super unique, hardworking.
Super unique, hardworking artists, yeah. And also just nice people, honestly. I have curated artists, bigger artists, and some of them aren't as nice to work with, so that's one of my criteria, just a good person.
Okay. Well, as we mentioned earlier in the show, your dad's Boogie, Lenny Weinglass, and I guess just quickly to kind of put a bow on that, you know, I guess what is his main influence or inspiration kind of on your art career and being an entrepreneur as well, because he was such a well-known, you know, businessman and entrepreneur himself. What were some of those major inspirations or influences?
I guess the community aspect. He opened Boogies to have a community space. You know, he didn't want anything to be over $10 because he wanted everyone to be able to afford it. He wanted a fun, low-key diner vibe, not a fancy place. So, yeah, just the community aspect, having a place for the community to come gather.
Yeah. Because
I do have that at Skye Gallery. We have a lot of fun community events, like I was saying, concerts and workshops and après, just different fun things like that. So the community aspect, and then also just bringing something new to the town. I like to curate local artists and support locals, and I also like to bring in new people from the outside to bring a new juice and new energy into our small town, because it does get pretty small.
And imagine that work ethic, because it's, you know,
and the work ethic.
Pretty all-consuming, right? I mean, any kind of local business or any business anywhere is, you know, you got to put a lot into it, right?
Yeah, I definitely did get that from my dad, come to think of it. He made us work since we were 12, you know. Every weekend I worked and every holiday, so I'm used to working on the weekends and holidays, and that's the Aspen thing, you know, because the tourist season. I mean, now I work full-time, but when you hire someone from somewhere else, they're I really want weekends and holidays off, and you're oh, shoot.
Yeah, those are some of our busiest times.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to double down.
But my dad had really amazing work ethic, of course, to the, probably too much. So I'm a happy medium of also enjoying my life and working hard.
Right.
Yeah. And traveling, which he didn't get to do as much, you know, because he had almost 2,000 stores at one point.
Oh my gosh. So striking a little more balance.
I can't imagine. Yeah, a little more balance in my self-care routine. But he was an incredible entrepreneur. I can't even imagine. Like, I have one store and it's a lot. I can't imagine having 2,000.
That's where you get your people, hopefully, underneath you to delegate to.
Exactly.
Right.
But my dad said you'll never be successful if you only delegate. You have to be there every day.
Right. Yeah, some of both, for sure.
Some of both.
But mostly being there, hands-on.
Yeah.
And then being able to delegate.
Which is the beauty of Aspen, because there's off-season, so I can work really
Right.
hard during busy season, then off-season I can go travel, which I need to do because there's a huge world out there and Aspen is tiny.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm already looking forward to off-season, I must admit. It's
Me
coming up quick.
I'm very excited.
Also coming up quick, and we read in the Aspen Daily News, it was either March 8th or 9th, if people want to get some more details, that you're going to be moving on from your current space, and you're actively looking for a space to rent, ideally in downtown Aspen, correct?
Yep, looking for a space. Definitely want to continue Skye Gallery. It's been a struggle finding a space, as most local businesses are experiencing, or any business really.
Yeah.
But yeah, my landlords, I've been in my space for 4 years and I love it, but my landlords are kicking me out and they said they want an international name brand and not a local business. And all the other business, and then all the other rents are really excruciating. So it's not just my landlords asking for like really wildly high rent. It's like all the landlords of Aspen right now. So I am looking for a space, and it's hard because like if I'm gonna pay that, I'm already paying double the rent of how I started, and they're asking now for triple. Like if I'm gonna pay that, then I have to curate like, you know, artists that sell like $1 million pieces, not like emerging artists. So it'll change my business model, which I don't want to do. So anyways, I'm looking for a reasonable price space, but still a beautiful space, because I want to have more community events and workshops, and curate a lot more artists. I have artists on the roster for like the next 2 years booked out. I already have a calendar booked for incredible artists that were supposed to be showing this summer and next winter before I found out I was getting kicked out of my space. So now I think
And we're talking about like around $30,000 a month, right?
Oh yeah, everyone's
in
asking
rent.
around. I almost just signed a place for $30,000 a month, but he gave it to someone else who gave him more than that.
Gosh. How many square feet are we talking about? Like, what would your needs? And
Like-
would you be willing to go a little smaller?
Well,
to
like right
secure
now
some-
I'm in like 900 square feet for $25,000 a month, and that's a lot. But I would love to go bigger.
Yeah, right. In a perfect world, right?
In a perfect
That
world.
would be the goal.
Because I represent like 8 different artists, and I also bring in a different show. So I curate a different show every 2 months. So I'd love to have the artists I represent in the back, like permanent collection, and then like a rotating show of the new artists in the front, and a little retail space because I have a lot of good jewelry and clothes I want to bring in, and events. So I do need a bigger space.
Now, would you be willing to come out of the downtown kind of core area a little bit, or what does that kind of look like? I mean, I know it's not as advantageous as
Yeah.
having that downtown kind of, especially tourist, traffic walking around and things. But would you be willing to kind of come out a little bit? Like I know a couple businesses on Main Street, for example.
Yeah, I guess if I have to. Like obviously, ideally, I want to be in like the walking downtown core because we always get new clients by foot traffic and new people. And but now that I have like a name for myself, I think I could actually, like we do have a little bit of a following. So now I could get away with having a spot a little bit outside the core. However, obviously, I want to be in the core. So I'm just waiting for the right spot to come about. And I'm looking now more for winter 2022.
Okay, that was my
fall.
next question, is when are you looking to start your next kind
I
of
was
term?
looking for summer, and I've been looking for like 6 months, and I haven't found a space. So in the meantime, I've kind of surrendered to what's the best thing that's going to happen. I don't really know what that is, so I'm just surrendering. And in the meantime, I've had pop-ups. Like I'm going to do a pop-up in Mexico City for April, probably in Denver in the summer, and maybe during Food and Wine in Aspen for like a month.
Nice.
So I'm kind of busy doing that, and we want to grow our business like online and
Okay.
just more fun events that we have, like more virtual tours and virtual shows, and getting all of our ducks in a row. So when I do open the spot come fall, winter, Skye Gallery, it'll be just organized and better.
It's kind of cool, though. I really respect and appreciate that you're kind of branching out, too, kind of in the meantime and exploring, kind of other venues,
Yeah.
other opportunities, maybe more creating your own art, kind of in the interim.
Yeah, I need
while
to do
you
that too.
find your next permanent space, which is probably appealing, right? Creating some more art yourself.
Yeah, I do need to do that. It'll be good. Like I gave up my all to Skye Gallery. Now it's good to like wind back and like get back in the practice of creating my own art. And then hopefully when I open Skye Gallery again, I'll have that practice down and then can continue to create my own art and have Skye Gallery. And we'll probably also like curate some, I don't know, hotel lobbies or restaurants or stuff like that in town.
Okay.
For the time being. Like there's a lot of opportunity in not having a brick and mortar. But I do want a brick and mortar, so I'm still looking for sure.
Well, there's nothing like you hit on that physical space where you're hanging out with locals, you're hanging out with local artists, you're doing these other cool events like dance or yoga, and yeah, that's brick and mortar to have that space.
Yeah.
So how could someone say not everything's advertised, as we know, and some people might know of spaces that might work. What's the best way to get a hold of you if they might have a possibility?
Probably email info@skyegalleryaspen.com. Also, Skye is spelled Skye.
Right.
And then also like our
Add the E.
Instagram, Skye Gallery Aspen, Skye. Our website, you can always like send an email through our website, which is also skyegalleryaspen.com.
Okay. You never know who's watching the show. Skye.
Yeah, I got a lot of help. So Daily News said that was the most shared article that they've ever had.
No kidding.
And because it's not just about me, it's about like the whole problem of Aspen. All locals are getting kicked out of their spots, so everyone can relate to it, and everyone's like, the local funk and soul of Aspen is slowly dwindling because no one can afford to live here. So hard. So yeah, I got a lot of help after that article about spots, but no spot's been the correct spot yet, so I'm waiting for the right spot.
Right, so you're feeling that community support. You're feeling the
Yeah,
love.
feeling community support, and I definitely do want, it's nice to have a spot in the downtown core. It's just like, like all my local friends when they come back to town can visit. Also, like, Uma Thurman came in yesterday, and like Zach Brown from Zach Brown Band bought pieces from Spencer last weekend. Awesome. Steve Aoki came in and bought pieces. Like we just have it's just fun like that where you can actually meet people from the whole world, international tourists. I feel like if I'm off the beaten path, it'll only be locals, which will be great also. But it'd be nice to have both.
Yeah, and we'll kind of
for both.
hopefully we can create some possibilities today, and get the word out there. And I think also the bigger picture, like you talked about, is we are fighting for the last of the localness, not to be Downer Debbie or I guess Downer Dave or some alarmist, but we are. I was just last weekend at Sukasa, which is closing its doors along with Erik's Bar, Aspen Billiards, and Cigar Bar on April 16th. Make sure you hit it while you can.
Mine's April 15th. I close April 15th.
You're April 15th. They're April 16th. So people need to stop by Skye Gallery.
Yeah.
And also, say thank you and, best of luck. And also at Sukasa. And I'll tell you, it was a amazing vibe. Because here we are, like somewhat post-COVID, hugging, seeing a lot of people we knew. There was an hour wait once we got there at 7 at Sukasa. But my brother and I had the best time. He visits once every couple years, and by the way, I recommend Jose's combo.
Okay, great.
$24, and it was massive, and it was margarita specials, and it was just such a great vibe. And as much as we're going to miss those places, I think there are solutions. And we see one like at the Aspen Public House, where the city is creating subsidized commercial opportunities, just like we have with our affordable housing program, and I mean. Also, SCI zoning, which we see down by Replay Sports, Aspen Bellow, down by Clark's. Maybe there's things with zoning. I mean, are there, an idea or two that you might think of that, say, the city government could, help out local businesses?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because I had my bad experience with my landlord where it's just like greediness. And then I've had a bad experience with 2 more landlords in town, like all the main landlords. So I'm like, okay, like we were talking about before, it's probably not like they're gonna take less rent because of the kindness out of their heart, So I feel like the city does have to step in and put a rent cap or just somehow like you said, subsidize rent or put a little bit of a rent cap or like make it, I know it's illegal in a lot of places to just triple someone's rent and that's not illegal here. So maybe like some kind of inspiration to do that. I don't know. I remember during COVID, they helped the city like did a thing where we would pay a third of the rent, our landlord paid a third, and the city paid a third. And like the landlords didn't have to sign on to it. Mine didn't at first, but then after like some peer pressure from Mayor Tory and stuff, like most of the landlords signed on to it. So something, I don't know, like that.
That's a really interesting,
That helped.
Continue that, that was born during COVID, to maybe help, again, displace or subsidize that rent so more local businesses can remain. Because, I mean, not only for locals, but visitors. I work with a lot of visitors with Sundog Athletics. They want the local businesses too.
I know.
So it's winning, on every level. And, I also think that the buyers of these buildings down the line also certain buyers would value local businesses.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think it decreases resale value, which is one of the things that's been floated by these commercial landlords.
Yeah.
And I have to say, as being a former landlord myself out in Fruita, Colorado, of course you want to get, competitive
top dollar
rates or even top dollar, but also have some element of responsibility and compassion for the community you're operating in, because when that community does better, you do better. So, you can't legislate values, unfortunately, and morals and ethics.
Yeah.
But I think that the city can step in and do, say, like Old City Hall. They're talking about creating 12 spaces for local businesses. The old Aspen Art Museum.
Yeah.
There's examples of these buildings.
That's true.
That could be repurposed for locals. Again, as the kind of the pattern of, or blueprint of Aspen Public House, where people would submit bids, obviously, for these spaces. And then maybe more zone districts that are more affordable. And then maybe some creative aspects where they could help with, subsidizing locally owned, locally serving businesses.
Yeah.
Like yourself. So
yeah,
some
that
solutions,
would be great.
maybe.
I think that's a good solution. And I think also maybe the city stepping in for spaces not to just sit empty, which is happening less. So, like, the past year of COVID, everything has exponentially been more, all the commercial real estate's pretty much gone now, which it was, like, Aspen's always been growing in this way. But now I feel like it's exponential in the past year.
Yeah, I agree.
But, for instance, like Harvey Press and Gallery that was there for, like, 15 years, they got kicked out, and now it's just sitting empty. Because no one wants, it's not the best space. But it was, Harvey, like, Sam Harvey did amazing with the space. And now they're asking, like, double the rent. And it's not good enough space for that, so it's just sitting empty. So stuff like that would have been, yeah.
Well, we're gonna keep working on those solutions.
Yeah.
Hopefully something will come out of the show today.
Thank you.
I hope at the very least you enjoyed it, and I really appreciate you sharing your story, and I find it so inspiring, and I have a real faith that you're gonna keep going, with the love and support from this community.
Thanks.
I'm going to support you with a few of my cookies right now, Skye.
Thank you.
If you're open to that.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you.
Thanks
Hopefully we'll get you back on the show at some point if you had a good
when I have
time.
a new space and I can tell everyone about where the new space is.
Then we'll make the announcement.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Skye Weinglass.
Thanks
Get a hold
for
of Skye,
having me.
guys, if you have any opportunities. And thank you so much for watching this week on The Local Show.
The Gonzo Foundation is a nonprofit organization created to promote literature, journalism, and political activism through the legacy of Hunter S. Thompson, and is a proud supporter of The Local Show and GrassRoots TV. For more information, visit thegonzofoundation.org.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school, is your opportunity to experience private, all-inclusive snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and fat biking instructional adventures that will improve your safety, performance, and enjoyment.